So that brings me into my alternative view. Speaking of the NFL draft, speaking of quarterbacks like Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold, my alternative view is quarterback Lamar Jackson is actually not even close. Is the best quarterback prospect in this draft. And I'm going to give you a couple of reasons to prove this, but I'm going to start off by saying last year I made it very clear that Deshaun Watson was hands down the best quarterback prospect in the draft. If you just look at the tape, he dominated college sports. You can't tell me somebody else that played on the same level as you did, that struggled, is somehow better at the next level than somebody that just dominated at this level. That's like saying, I dominated at level 3 in Tetris. You dominated at level 2. Somehow you'll be better at level 4 than I am because you dominated at 2 and I only did it at 3. That doesn't make any sense. If I'm at a higher level than you, at a level beneath the level that we're both going to, how on earth are you going to somehow jump over me and have greater potential when you don't even have the productivity now? Doesn't make sense. So now for Lamar Jackson, to me he's clearly the best quarterback prospect. So let me start off by saying this. So the first reason that most people like to say that Lamar Jackson are like running quarterbacks won't make it, or running quarterbacks never make it. And I went over the history and looked over like notorious running quarterbacks and realized that some of the best quarterbacks ever came out of college as running quarterbacks.
Steve Young.
Oh, that's the first name that I actually have. That's the first name. Okay, so let's just go right into that. Steve Young, considered a running quarterback. Actually, after his second year, was considered a bust in the NFL. And was traded to be a backup to Joe Montana because the team that had him, that drafted him, which I won't say because I don't want to ruffle no feathers here, because that fandom will really get hurt when they find that out. Steve Young was drafted by another team. After his second year, in which he went 2-12, was deemed a bust and traded to 49ers. Backed up there for a few seasons behind Joe Montana, then eventually became one of the most successful quarterbacks ever. 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time Super Bowl winner, 2-time MVP. His best year in college, and by the way, he was only 6'2", 215 pounds. More physical time of year, more physical NFL. His best year was 1983. 11 games, he went 306 completions for 429 completions, threw for 71%, 33 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, 168.5 QB rating, 102 rushes, 444 yards and 8 touchdowns. This is in college. 1983, team went 11-1. They won the championship. Strength of schedule was only 68 out of 112, though. I'm moving to my next quarterback comparison. Randall Cunningham. Randall Cunningham was one of the best quarterbacks of his time, but constantly not spoken about as much as the other greats. Maybe because he didn't win as many Super Bowls, really didn't win any Super Bowls.
Randall Cunningham? He did win a Super Bowl.
I think he won one, right?
He won a Super Bowl.
I think he won one.
First black quarterback won a Super Bowl.
Oh, no, I think it was actually the Redskins quarterback.
Oh, no, yeah, Randy Johnson. I know it's Johnson. Doug Johnson.
Yes.
Doug Johnson.
But Randall Cunningham, his best year, also running quarterback. 6'4", 212. His best actual year was actually a year after Steve Young, 1984. 13 games, 225 for 360, 62%. Because he wasn't as great as a passer as Steve Young. Even though Steve Young, for some reason, only considered a runner, was one of the most accurate quarterbacks ever in college. Very weird. Runner here in Cunningham, 26 touchdowns and 10 interceptions, 148.5 QB rating, 105 rushes, more than Steve Young, but only 29 yards for 3 touchdowns. So most of his rushes was actually short yards, basically quarterback sneaks. But he wasn't running quarterback; it was showed in the NFL later on. Third, it was a lot of people compared Lamar Jackson to Cordell Stewart. Cordell Stewart, another running quarterback coming out of college. But he was actually smaller, 6'1", 215. His best year in college was in 1994. 11 games, he went 147 for 237. 62% again, completion percentage. Only 10 touchdowns passing, 3 interceptions. 146.8 QB rating. But he was more so for running. More rushes than both of these guys on my list. He had 122 rushes, 639 yards for 7 touchdowns running. That's ridiculous even for now, let alone 1994. His team went 11-1. That was Colorado. Won the bowl. And the strength of schedule is actually 27 out of 107. For some reason, Cordell Stewart also dropped in the draft. People didn't think he would be able to run in the NFL the same way he did.
Well,
but he also had
10 passing touchdowns, probably the reason why he got.
Oh, yeah, because, a lot of people felt like he couldn't do it. Yeah. But the actual offense that was ran was for him to run. Mm-hmm. So Niv was given a chance to show that, yes, I can pass also.
It's probably a run option team.
Correct. So now let me move on to some of the bigger reasons why Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in this draft. So his numbers. His best year was 2016, which he won the Heisman. In 13 games, he went 230 for 409, 56.2 completion percentage. This is why many feel like his accuracy is very subpar. Mm-hmm. 30 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, 148.8 QB rating. But where his numbers is huge, 260 rushes for 1,571 yards and 21 touchdowns running the football. That is unheard of. That is absolutely special. That is once in a lifetime, let alone generation. That's once in 100 years. You find a quarterback that could put up those kind of numbers rushing the football. And to compare him to, the player that he's been compared most to by people that know him best, and his idol, is Michael Vick. Michael Vick's best year in college was in 1999 when he came in third in the Heisman. 12 games, 105 for 182, 57% completion percentage, 13 touchdowns to 5 interceptions. But he had 171.1 QB rating. He was a 1999 Big East Player of the Year. He had 131 rushes for 682 yards and 9 touchdowns. They went 11-1. Strength of schedule was 58 out of 114. Okay. Lamar in his best year, that Heisman year, went 9-4. Lost the ball. Strength of schedule was 50 out of 128. So those are the comparison plays that I compared Lamar Jackson to. But here's a few quotes quickly that why I feel like Lamar Jackson is also the best quarterback prospect. Quote number 1. He's the best quarterback athlete since Michael Vick. This is from an NFL personnel director. Mm-hmm. Number 2. He's 5 times better than I was at Virginia Tech. That's from no other than Michael Vick himself. Mm-hmm. Then thirdly, this is the guy that does the player scouting reports for Walter Football, which is one of the more known sites that do the mock drafts and a lot of the scouting reports for the NFL drafts. Charlie Campbell's one of the main writers that does it. One of the quotes he has in the scouting report for Lamar Jackson is, he has elite arm strength with a powerful gun. Jackson's arm is so strong that he can make throws off platform that other quarterbacks can only make after having their feet set. This is said by the same guy that said Deshaun Watson will have or will be one of the best quarterbacks with the right situation. Mm-hmm. Same guy. So those are just a few things. And the strengths that Charlie Parker says that Lamar possesses: rare arm talent, rare running skills, pocket presence, an absolutely amazing athlete with rare elusive ability. Okay. After all that, I got 5 main reasons that should end this conversation as why Lamar Jackson is the best quarterback in this draft. Mm-hmm. Number 1, he's a Heisman Trophy winner. Only Baker Mayfield out of these quarterbacks is also won a Heisman. So you're trying to tell me that players that weren't even good or had great seasons somehow going to be better at the next level than Lamar Jackson? Stop. Reason number 2, Lamar Jackson is the 3rd player in college history with 50 passing touchdowns and 50 rushing touchdowns. Only other 2 players to complete this feat: Florida's Tim Tebow, Nevada's Colin Kaepernick. They seem very successful. Number 3. This is huge. Lamar Jackson is the only FBS player to have a season of 3,300 yards passing, and 1,500 yards rushing in the same season. He's also, with that same stat, he's the first NCAA quarterback with back-to-back seasons of 3,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yard seasons.
Mhm.
Only. Ever. That's ever. Like, it's any player. Like, but yet you want to tell me Sam Darnold, who has no records, is somehow... Okay, let's continue. Number 4. This was by a scouting report done. Lamar Jackson was plagued by a poor offensive line, a weak running game, and balls dropped by inept receivers. He still somehow overcame to have 2 historical offensive seasons. So not only did he have amazing seasons, none of these wide receivers are NFL talents. It seems like none of his offensive linemen are NFL talents. And his running game was subpar. The same running game that he carried to historical numbers. If that's not enough for you, I don't know what else could be.
One more game?
But I got one last reason to knock it off with. And this is a nice little thing to tie together the Michael Vick comparison. Right? Number 5. Lamar Jackson played. Not only played. It's said that he mastered a pro-style offense under former NFL offensive coordinator Bobby Petrino at Louisville. So now this is the last point I'll make about Lamar Jackson and Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino, who also coached Teddy Bridgewater, was hired in 2007 by the Atlanta Falcons to quote-unquote make Michael Vick more of a complete quarterback. So the very player that Lamar Jackson's compared to most, the most elusive and athletic quarterback we'd ever saw, the person that was brought in to make him a more complete quarterback is the same coach that Lamar Jackson had for 3 years in college. If that's not enough for you to see that Lamar Jackson is Michael Vick 2.0, and Michael Vick was a number 1 pick, number 2 was LaDainian Tomlinson, just to give you an understanding of who was in that draft with Michael Vick.
LaDainian Tomlinson was balling in college.
I don't understand how Lamar Jackson isn't the number 1 pick this year. If the Cleveland Browns are so foolish again to pass on another player like Deshaun Watson, like Aaron Rodgers, like all the quarterbacks that they continue to pass on,
A.J. McCarron,
and continuously saddle themselves with mistakes because they want to add more picks and then get a quarterback later on. If they pass on Lamar Jackson at number 1, and they pass on Lamar Jackson again at number 5, I believe they have, and they pass Lamar again
at whatever number they get.
Whatever number. I guarantee you the Browns will be continued to laugh at for another player that they made the mistake on and not picking up, like Deshaun Watson last year. Not to mention, Lamar Jackson has higher ratings as a quarterback prospect than Deshaun Watson.
Gosh. That boy is just so quick.
So, all that being said, I hope my few minutes here of points and images, I will leave you with this. I dare you to watch on YouTube the 2016-17 season highlights from Lamar Jackson and tell me that there's any quarterback in this draft that makes you look at that screen and say, wow, he did shit that I've never seen before.
Oh, okay.
With all that being said, Lamar Jackson is this year
number 2.
The 2018 NFL Draft best quarterback prospect. And I will project he will have the best NFL career of any quarterback in this draft this season. That goes for Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, and Josh Rosen.
Baker Mayfield.
I'll even go with Luke Falk. Let's throw all these names out.
So what do you do about Baker
The only
Mayfield?
reason I'll say because Baker Mayfield, I really like it.
Because he's second.
I think he has a good chance to be a Drew Brees in this league.
Baker, to me, reminds me of, he could be Tom Brady. He could be Drew Brees. Like, he can be.
I say Drew Brees because the one skill that stands out for Baker Mayfield is his feet. He has amazing feet.
But he's big.
He keeps the feet going.
He has amazing feet, but he's big as Roethlisberger. And then he can kind of move on you.
He actually has a lot of
elusiveness. So it's like
a lot of Tony Romo in him.
Yeah.
A lot of Tony Romo in it.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
But Baker Mayfield is not no Lamar Jackson.
All right, but
that's for sure.
One thing I say, athletically, yeah, Lamar.
Let's hesitate.
But as far as
when I started
all-around quarterback,
when I started off and looking at the top 5 quarterback prospects, I looked at them the same way as any. I was like, all right, I don't. And then for the games that I saw from Lamar Jackson, he didn't look like much of a quarterback. He looked more like Terrell Pryor to me, like somebody that's like athletic, can make a throw, but really you're not gonna be able to tackle him when he's in open field. Like literally, that's what I got from the 2 games that I watched. But then when I was able now in this process of looking over all 5 of these quarterback prospects, and I went through the numbers, and I actually watched 3 more game takes of Lamar Jackson. Oh hell no. They're not even close to him. They're not even remotely close to him. Based on just stats and based on when you actually see him in the games in which he had no chance of really be winning, they are not even close to him. Because when I look at somebody like Sam Darnold, who had elite talent around him with USC, I look at somebody like Baker Mayfield, who has other offensive talents that will actually be in the 1st and 2nd round. He's the only one that doesn't have any NFL prospects on the offensive side of the ball with him. And he put up better numbers than all of them. So there's no way I can now give them. It's almost like if I played with a number 1 team in college and I averaged 12 assists a game. You play with a team that didn't even win 8 games, but you average 8 assists a game. You probably are a better passer than I am. That's just the reality of the fact. So to say that somehow Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, and then Sam Darnold came into
it could be a lot of misses.
That's a fact. But then when you look at all these wide receivers dropping football, you can't tell me now that he's a bad passer. And then turn around and say that Josh Allen didn't have the right level of talent around him.
I just don't get that.
Stop.
Yeah, to me, like, I know you say he's the best. Well, to me, I still like Baker. Maybe because I enjoy Baker. I watch both their games.
Yeah.
But as far as the rest of the quarterbacks, I don't think they go any high. They should go any higher than 3rd round.
The only thing I see is like Baker Mayfield is slightly. So let's say he's already at a B at the passing ability, and let's say Lamar Jackson's a C. Everything else, Lamar Jackson is an A+. So to me, that's the difference. Yeah, Baker's slightly better as a passer. That's for sure. Slightly better. It's not a gap. It's not a gap at all.
It's a nice little gap, though.
The gap is because he has better receivers.
I don't know.
That's what the gap is to me. He's slightly based on technique. It's slightly.
Well, maybe technique, ball placement, accuracy, and throwing power.
Better placement when you have
throwing power. Lamar Jackson got, but accuracy, he's not.
Accuracy has a lot to do with the receiver you're throwing it to. Also,
it could be, but it depends on where you're throwing the ball.
Correct.
But it's accuracy so far. What I've seen is Baker. I think the best we're gonna see is from when they do
pro days.
The pro days.
Okay.
That's when you best see how their format is.
I still won't, because look who you're throwing it to. The same Louisville receivers that have been dropping balls all year. What you think? Because he's doing a Louisville pro day with his players.
God.
Of course he's gonna hold, because he's a team guy first.
Oh God.
If you ever watch him on interviews, all he talks about is his teammates. He talks about his offensive line.
No, now as far as an all-around player, I think he's the most electrifying player coming out. I think in almost any situation, he'll be legit.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, y'all call him mobile quarterbacks, you call him this, you call him that. He's a quarterback that can extend the play.
I don't see how his talents are any different than Michael Vick or Cam Newton.
No, but my thing is, it's not a mobile. It's not a mobile.
What's the difference?
It's not a mobile quarterback.
I
don't like the word.
I'm just asking the difference between number 1 picks, Cam Newton, Michael Vick. What's the difference with Lamar Jackson?
My thing is,
what's the difference?
My thing is,
he has just as big as an arm as them.
I don't like
he has just as good as a college career.
I don't like the word mobile quarterback.
Vic never won a Heisman.
Because I think it's just strictly off of...
I'm not even saying mobile quarterback. Because I'm just comparing him to other quarterbacks of that ilk.
But this is the thing.
Yeah.
When you say mobile quarterback, most mobile quarterback... When I think of mobile quarterback, I think of some of the people you name, like Cordell Stewart,
Steve Young, and...
No, not even Stephen Young. And Aaron Brooks. I'm thinking of players once the ball is snapped, 2 seconds in they're running. he actually stands in the pocket for a few minutes, and then if he has to, he moves and he extends the play, and then he has to, then he runs. That's what I say. He's a very talented all around there. But as far as the throwing capability, as far as the games I've seen,
you have trash receivers.
Hold on, give me a second. As far as the players I've seen, he doesn't. As far as looking off certain corners, maybe they'll get better as far as he gets into the league.
Sure.
Definitely. Maybe with better coaching. Definitely.
Sure.
So with that being said, from his standpoint to where Baker is, Baker's above.
And I'm not disagreeing with. I agree with that completely.
But my thing is this.
But to me, it's not a gap at all.
But my problem is this. Yeah. I like Baker.
Yeah.
And I like Lamar. Mm-hmm. The rest of them need some time.
Yeah. The same way I felt about Mitch Trubisky is the same way I feel about.
And I think Josh Rosen.
I feel the same way. They have time, but it's gonna take time.
And then look, I actually looked for what I was saying. When I compare Josh Rosen to Kirk Cousins. Same player, man. I don't think he's really going to win you a game. I think he can pull some yards up when he's down 20 and the defense playing prevent.
I feel like if Kirk Cousins was given an elite defense, like say if he played with Jacksonville, he might be a Super Bowl pass. Like that would be Joe Flacco.
He'd be looking nice.
Yeah, because Flacco with an elite defense, we saw he was able to win games.
He looked nice, but this is my thing is, what separates certain players, certain quarterbacks is I've seen Baker come back. That comeback game, that's what really was like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. I've seen him in games where that defense just keeps giving him points and he has to keep scoring. Mm-hmm. The only other person that does that is Lamar, because that defense does the same exact thing where he has to keep scoring. The rest of them, Sam Darnold plays with a lead almost the whole game. Josh Rosen, they came in with that USC was a top 5 team. Josh Rosen's team was a losing team. So, no, he played Washington.
Okay.
So when I look at these certain players, I just say, look, I'm looking at you as a quarterback. As a quarterback, I think you win the game. That's just me. That's how I think. Quarterback. If you have the ball in your hand and you make a mistake, that's your fault. Any bad throw you make, that's you. Unless they went to the wrong route and it falls in the air and he's there, then I'm like, that's somebody. But besides that, it's mostly you. So, but when you have the game ball in your hand and it's towards the end, I seen Lamar take care of handle the game, end of the game situations. I seen Baker and handle end of the game situations.
Both Heisman Trophy winners.
Only problem was that Lamar's last game was not the best.
Sure enough.
But besides it, but Baker's last game was not the best.
Sure enough.
I'm just saying. That's what I said. They're both here. I just still got Baker above.
The reason I can't get Baker is because he doesn't have the ability that, for instance,
Lamar
Jackson has one ability that in itself can't be taught. He can make people miss at a supreme level.
Yeah, that's
been from high school all the way through.
That's a super fact.
Whereas Baker Mayfield, like, yeah, you can avoid people. But the difference between avoiding and making people miss. Yeah, Baker has avoidability. Jackson has people. I make people miss. Like, I can literally make you miss. And that can't be taught. That in itself makes, to me, that's a top 5 pick off of that skill alone. It's almost like, to me, Steph Curry's shooting ability. With somebody that shoots that well, you can't teach that. That automatically puts your ability above everybody else. When you have skills that can't be taught, like Myles Garrett, he had a way of curbing on the corner, that whole bend the corner to get to a quarterback. You can't teach that. You can go over and over with a defensive end to see if you can get that technique down. You can improve on it, but to get it the way he has it, that can't be taught. That's developed from a child all the way to a grown man. That's a special talent that makes Myles Garrett a top 5 pick, guaranteed. So to me now, how the hell is Lamar Jackson a possible 2nd round pick when he has a once-in-a-generation ability? This ain't Tim Tebow. And even the Colin Kaepernick side. There's a reason why Kaepernick eventually became a Super Bowl quarterback. You can see in college how dominant he was. Just because he wasn't playing with a big-name school, would you take away the stats of what he was doing?
I hate when they do that. I hate when they take away from it.
Just because USC is a big-name school, that don't make Sam Darnold better than Luke Falk.
Because the last person I think they supposedly was that big man was Matt Leinart.
How did that work out?
But and as well as that, I think Lamar Jackson will be perfect if he goes to Denver.
I think Baker Mayfield is better for Denver. I just think he fits that mold.
He might, but I
feel like Lamar Jackson is not. For instance, he's a runner. I don't think he's built for that Colorado weather. that high octane. I don't think that's built for what he would be skilled at.
I was just looking as far as no, you're right, because I'm thinking just as far as the team, because the offensive line is pretty secure.
I personally think
and then with those wide receivers, he'd be amazing. Jacksonville, I would hate if he goes there.
I think that's the best place for him.
I would hate if he goes there.
What?
Plays the Colts.
Oh, that's too bad for you. I mean, Luck got to handle it.
Nah, bro. Nah, you gonna go to Washington.
Oh, I mean, Washington. I don't think it's gonna happen just because of RG3 problem.
They would never try Washington
because it's just an RG3 problem. You know what I mean?
They would never try Washington.
And I think makes the most sense for him.
But I think the Jets probably take Baker.
I think the Jets should take him, but I don't think the Jets will take him.
No, I think the Jets probably take Baker if they have a chance. If they had a choice between the two, they're taking Baker.
Which should be to me just no.
It doesn't make sense for. I don't think the Jets should go for a quarterback, but that's just.
I think the Jets need to.
I don't know.
Like this is one of those moments where your top 6. That Bryce joint ain't work. The Hackenberg ain't work.
No.
Give my man Bowles a quarterback. And you already drafted everything else you already got.
No. They've drafted quarterbacks back to back. Horrible pack. I don't know.
It's a whole new GM.
Is it a new GM? Oh, yeah, it's a new GM. Maybe they could do some better draft scouting of quarterbacks. I would personally, if I was the Jets, I'm going free agency for a quarterback. I'm going for somebody.
Kirk Cousins makes the most sense with the Jets.
That's exactly.
That ain't going to happen.
But
when they could get Lamar Jackson.
I'm just saying.
Don't get Lamar, man.
That was
like I'm just saying that the team that get Lamar, y'all taking off. As long as it's not some jerks like the Bengals draft him and then they keep him behind AJ McCarron and
if it's Cleveland, I don't know about that whisper, bro.
Nah, if they go to Cleveland though, you gonna see how the only thing I'll be scared about he's gonna get hurt.
Yo, that's what I don't know about
like the Lawrence already show Lamar Jackson.
I don't think Cleveland will touch him though. Because they touched the Sean. RG. They're not gonna touch him. They're not gonna touch it because they had RG3. They already had a little experience with that. They're not going again with that.
I can already envision.
And then they got Kaiser. They went from RG3 and Kaiser. They're not going over there.
I can envision.
They're not touching him, bro.
I can envision in 3 years when we look at that video. Why did the Browns let Lamar Jackson get past them? Like why did they keep doing this?
Why did they let everyone get past them?
Yeah, then they trade back and let like Carson Wentz and all of them go. Because they could have had Carson Wentz already. And decided like, nah, we don't want a Brett Favre. Nah, we're not sure about him. Like, who's the scouting department?
We're sure with Kaiser. You know what's funny? Because
the scouting department
I actually liked Deshaun Kaiser, but I liked if he went to the Jets. I think that would have been a better.
I liked him a lot too.
I liked him in the Jets.
I just felt like he went to the wrong situation.
I think
what they did to him last year has already ruined his career.
I think him in the Jets would have worked perfectly because that was an established running.
But I didn't think the Jets needed a quarterback.
No, but I'm saying
because Hackenberg was supposed to get a year.
But I'm saying that's a established running team, right?
Yeah. So that's what Bowles fired the offensive coordinator for. Apparently, he's from the coordinator wanted to throw the ball up. Oh, it's from the Saints. He was the Saints QB coach, I think.
Oh, that's why.
And he became the offensive coordinator with the Jets.
And that's what
he got fired yesterday.
That's what he got. Yeah, that's
because Bowles said he wanted to run the ball. He was throwing it on 3rd and 1, throwing it on 3rd and 2. And it's like, yo, you
got the two Maguire and you got Bilal Powell sitting there running the ball like crazy. And Forte.
But he came from the Saints. He wanted to do that Saints thing.
And it's not the same players, bro.
But yeah, that was my alternative view. Lamar Jackson, best quarterback prospect.
It's a good, passionate piece.
Yeah.
We shall see in the few years to come.
Oh, for sure.